دایی به من همیشه میگفت که با هر جور زبونی راحتم با اون زبون حرف بزنم. پس با اجازه آقا مهندسم به انگلیسی عوض میکنم که بچه هاشم بفهمن. My uncle was an exceptional man. He was a quiet man, but he was so proud. Even during his worst times, he always made sure to look his best, presentable, and always smile. He was so proud that I would joke with him that I called him the anti-patient because of his reluctance to get help with anything. Whether it was simple as fixing his computer or as necessary as going to the doctor, my uncle would wait until the very last minute to ask for help. He always wanted to deal things with himself, always wanted to carry the burden on his own shoulders and no one else's. He was so brave. I've never heard him once complain about pain or discomfort. I used to think that he was being difficult for his own sake, but now I realize that he was doing it for us. He never wanted to burden us, never wanted us to have to do something for him. My uncle was a Taruf master. He taught us his way at home and taught us his way into the hospital to the point where he was thanking and offering his snacks and foods to the doctors and staff before he even had a chance to eat. At times, when the doctors were finished visiting him and getting ready to leave the room, my uncle would get up out of his bed and walk them out, as if it was a mehmuni and they were the guest of honor. I held all these memories and stories that I will keep for the rest of my life. My uncle was an amazing man who taught me so much about life and love. He showed me what was most important and what things to take more lightly. I am so thankful for the 3 extra years that he spent with me, and I will never regret anything. My uncle was a man of few words, but we had a few heartfelt talks together. So he asked me to say these things on this day on his behalf. Thank you to my big sister and my brother-in-law for sacrificing your time, money, and home for me. Mojgan, I know this is very hard for you, and that you have sacrificed everything for me, but I am so deeply thankful for all that you have done. Thank you to my other sister, Mahtab, for fighting for me and flying all the way here to donate your bone marrow for me. It is because of you 3 that I was able to fight and survive for so long. Lastly, I would like to send my deepest sympathies to his 2 kids. I know that you 2 will have to miss him the most. Alan and Chris, a couple years ago, me and your dad went to see a movie. It was called 50-50, and it was about a man who had to fight his own version of cancer. On the drive home, your dad and I were laughing and crying because he was relating to all the different things that was going on in the movie. Eventually, I asked him, Dai, az chi bishtar mitarsi? And he answered that he was most scared that he would leave you 2 alone and that you guys would be without the Iranian side of your family. He loved our culture, he loved what it meant to be Iranian, and he wanted to always share it with you guys. So I made a deal with your dad that if anything were ever to happen to him, that he would watch you over from the sky and I would watch you over from the ground. And I plan to do that, and I hope you know that he always loves you, and he's always watching over you, and is proud of everything you guys have done and will do. No one can ever replace your father, but I just want you 2 to know that we will always be here for you. You 2 are the closest thing I have to my dai, and I will do my best to take care of you. You share his eyes, his smiles, his quiet but strong will. Don't ever lose that, and always cherish the memories and feelings that you have with them. دایی جون خیلی ممنون که من بزرگ کردی. دلم تا آخر عمرم برای شما تنگ میشه، اما خوشحالم که شما الان راحتی و خوشحالی و بدون درد و سختی. تا اون روزی که من دوباره ببینمت، خداحافظ.
وای خدا چرا اینجور شد
من خیلی سعی کردم که ناراحتیمو نگه دارم و ناراحت بمونم راجع به این موضوع، ولی من دایمو میشناختم و میدونستم که از من اینو نمیخواست. دایی همیشه کس شادی بود، حتی وقتی خیلی مریض بود نمیتونستم برم تو اتاقش بدون که لبخندی به من بزنه و خوشحال باشه که ببینمش. چیزایی که دایی تو این دنیا به من یاد داد فقط از اون میتونستم یاد بگیرم. وقتی بچه بودم قصه محبوب بابام راجع به من و دایی اینه که من کامپیوترشو پاک کردم. تقریبا 400 ساعت روی پروگرامی کار کرده بود و من زیر 10 ثانیه تو بچگیم پاک کردم. دایی من امام عزیز راجع به صبر و صبور و پیشنس حرف میزنه. یک لحظه ناراحت نبود با من، یک لحظه عصبانی نبود با من. همون جور این چند سال پیش یک لحظه عصبانی نبود با خدا، یک لحظه عصبانی نبود با هیچ کسی. حتی وقتی دکترها نمیدونستن چی کار کنن، حتی وقتی ماها زیادی اذیتش کردیم که بره دکتر، دایی بریم زودتر بریم، هنوز فقط خوشحال بود که اینجا هست، خوشحال بود که یه بار دیگه میتونه ما رو ببینه، خوشحال بود که یه بار دیگه بچه‌هاش دارن میان. و میدونم که این درد مخصوصا برای مامان و خاله هیچ وقت نمیره، ولی همیشه میخوام سعی کنیم که از یه خانواده همیشه چیزایی که بهمون یاد داد و یادمون بمونه و زمانی که با هم دیگه شاد بودیم. خیلی ممنون برای همه‌ای که ما این چند وقت، نه فقط این هفته ولی این چند سال با ما بودن، مخصوصا پیش مامانم. خیلی زحمت دادیم به همتون و خیلی متشکریم از همه کاری که کردیم.
My dad was really a great man, the best man I ever knew. He was always strong and he was always there for me throughout everything, all the good times and all the bad times. He was always there. He would always be there to support me. He taught me so many things that I could never learn in school or from anyone else. He taught me the meaning of love, family, responsibility, and caring. It's going to be very hard now. It's going to be hard to imagine that there's going to be an empty seat at my graduation, at all my concerts and all my other big events. But it's very important to remember that I have to be strong for him. It's what he would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted me to be depressed or to loom over it for a long time. He would have wanted me to go on. Yeah, I only got to be with them for 15 years, but they were a good 15 years. I could never replace them, ever. So many memories that I have of him, and he was so amazing. He really was the strongest man I ever knew, and I feel really proud to call him my dad. I love him.
I miss you. You are
Okay, my father was the most selfless and compassionate man I ever knew and will ever know. And for 21 years, I've received the greatest gift any man can ever ask for, and that's the love and support of his father. And that doesn't end here. It will never end for me. His memories is something that will keep me inspired every day for the rest of my life until I join him. From this day forward, I and the rest of my family will live our lives just the way he wanted. We'll be happy together. We'll laugh together. We'll cry together, just like he would have wanted. And I have so many good memories of him. And I'm going to continue to make him proud for the rest of my life. My great memories of him start at the beginning of my life. I enjoyed going to all those soccer games with him, cheering on Esteghlal, just walking through Iran, seeing all the beautiful places. He was with us every step of the way, and we were with him, and that's never going to end. I know that he came back to America just for us, and he was always there for us. We'll always be there for him. And these last 3 years have been difficult for all of us, but not just difficult. They're also an eye-opening experience. They showed us what it meant to be a fighter, what it meant to be a selfless person. Although the last years of his life were very hard for him, were very hard for him to live, he did nothing but live for his loved ones. He would not stop until the very end. No matter what happened, he would keep going. And it wasn't for him, it was for his loved ones. Until the very last day, he was there fighting. And even when times got the toughest, he would get even tougher than the times. It was very hard for me, and it was very hard for all of his loved ones to see him in the ICU during his last days. But the most comforting thing for me, and I'm sure for everybody else, is that although he endured so much pain and suffering during these hard months and years, that it was all for his family, and he will never feel pain again. That is the most comforting thing for me. I just wanted to say that everything I ever do in my life again will be for him. And lastly, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody who supported him. I want to thank all the doctors and nurses for doing everything they could. I could not be prouder to call him my father. And that is something that I will say the rest of my life. No matter how long I'm here, whether I'm here another 5 years or another 20 years or another 80 years, it doesn't matter. I received the most important thing any man could receive, and that's the support and love of my father. And for that, I'm very thankful. Thank you, everybody.
حال دور نماز مگه so we moved the special body this way you may follow Islam we will meet in the hall